to my legislative report. I'm Representative Dawn Keefer of the 92nd Legislative District. Today I'm in York Haven, Newberry Township, at the Wintermeyer Salvage and Recycling Center. I'm here with Claire Wintermeyer, and we're doing tours around the district to talk to some of our small businesses and entities about how they operate and what they do within the Commonwealth and how what we do as legislators impacts them. So Claire, if you could give me a little bit of a background of what you do here at the salvage yard.
We mainly recycle aluminum, non-ferrous, cars. We also have a U-pull yard that people come in and buy parts for a cheaper price.
Okay.
They pull it themselves. But our main goal is, our income is the junk cars.
Okay.
We buy them, process them, keep the ones we want to keep back in the U-pull yard, and the ones we don't, we'll crush them and use them for scrap.
So now, do you seek out the automobiles, or do you have a lot of people that come to you with the salvage?
We do both. We'll get auction and buy cars at auction.
Okay.
We have people that bring cars in. Car lot guys, a lot of the car lot guys, we buy them off of them when they can't sell them because they're too bad a shape to sell.
Okay.
That's about how we get cars.
Okay, so this is recycling at its finest. So you go from the point that somebody would pull in, they would give your car, or you would pick them up at salvage.
We do both, yeah.
And so you do all that paperwork, and then you bring them back here and you process
Yes.
the cars. Okay. And you pull it. Could you explain that a little bit? Some people might not know what it is. Like, I have a little bit of a background in that.
The U-pull yard, they can come in for free. They go back and get their parts, and we have a price list for them, how much the parts cost.
Okay.
And it's a lot cheaper than going to buy a new part or even buying a used part off the salvage yard that sells a different way we do. It's a fraction of the cost.
Okay. How do you go about keeping or separating for what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of?
Car-wise, just from experience, some cars you'll have for years and never sell nothing off of them. You kind of keep them cars in mind. Plus, all the cars that we have in the yard, we have dates on them.
Okay.
So they're sitting there for 6 months, 9 months, nothing's being sold off of them. Then most likely we'll just pull it out and put another one there in its place.
Okay. So tell me, how did you get started in this? Is this something you started on your own? Is it a family business?
My dad started in 1948. I bought the business off my mom and dad in 2001.
Okay. So it's a long history. Just
Yes.
you. Just you. Have any siblings running with
I
it?
have. There's 8 of us. And
Okay. But you're the only one that ran with the business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. My husband has a kind of small business background, similar. Just started with his father and then took that on with himself. And the challenges of being a small business is really why I'm going out in the district. Just how, just from the entrepreneur, single, small business to government relations, whether it's local government, state government, how that impacts you as a business.
Our local government, the township, you can't ask for a better township to work with.
Okay.
They're very business friendly.
Okay.
In the past, maybe in the 80s or 70s, there was some kind of rough areas with different people on the board, but in the 90s and 2000, they've been very, very good to us.
That's great. That's great. So, and you're dealing usually with zoning type of things at the local level. At the state
Yes.
level, what are some of the issues or challenges that you might have at the state level? I mean, you're dealing here with probably a myriad of different agencies, from DEP to labor and industry to revenue. So, is that all kind of seamless for you?
DEP has been pretty good to us since we moved to this location. We had some issues with York County, the conservation people. We had a problem with the neighboring salvage yard that had some water issues coming on our property, that we were made to spend the money to fix their problem, which we weren't very happy about that, but we cooperated and did it, and
Okay.
got it all taken care of. But
All right. And that's what I find. I find that businesses like yours that are really small and you got your head down, you're just trying to get something done, I usually find that you just comply because you want to get done and you want to get through this and you've got to move to the next task. So usually you're compliant with that. But when does it become, I can't be compliant any longer. I mean, when does it become a burden versus?
Well, we did have some issues with that there, and it wasn't for Scott Perry taking in and getting involved with it and getting things taken care of. We probably been still fighting with him now.
Okay.
But he came here and saw what they were trying to do to me, and it was unfair because it wasn't my problem, it was somebody else's problem, but I had to take care of it because it came on my property. He took care of it after he was here, and we had a discussion with the York County people. A couple of weeks later, it all disappeared.
Okay, that's great. I was
Yeah.
going to say, and that's sometimes whenever you're dealing with some of the regulators, they have that disconnect of they're trying just to do their job and it's tunnel vision versus they don't have the big picture of we're trying to do business here, and you're not. You're trying to do it be good stewards of your resources, but I mean you are limited in what you can do, and I think that picture is lost sometimes.
Yes.
And what might be some of the other state issues that you're dealing with?
PennDOT paperwork for titles. It's very confusing.
Right, and we discussed that some.
There's nobody that tells you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. You ask anybody, you ask 4 different people, they all 4 give you different answers.
There's no consistency in
Nothing.
the agency.
Like we just called for a bandit license for our cars we have for the bandit cars. We called them over a week ago for questions. No one has got back to us yet.
Right.
And we run across this all the time with PennDOT.
And that's some of the things I'm trying to work on legislatively, just trying to get that to be an easier process, government actually working for you, more customer service type things, and less regulation. I mean, what is necessary and what isn't necessary? What's more of a burden than being necessary?
Yeah.
What about any kind of labor issues? Are you impacted by any of those?
It's get labor involved when you start doing this process of getting the titles for the bandit vehicles. I mean, we're doing the state a favor by picking up the bandit vehicles for the police.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like this can't get no cooperation. You're on the phone. I mean, I'm not the only one that has a problem. Everybody I talk to has towing companies. They have the same problem. They never get titles back in a timely manner. You're on the phone or doing paperwork several times just for a junk car.
So, and what about employee issues? Do you have any issues with that?
No, we have the issue with workman's comp.
Okay.
They doubled our
Your
price, the rate, because our income of the business, not because of how dangerous or anything like that, just our income.
Okay, and I've heard that before where people are frustrated with that unemployment compensation insurance. It's not based on your record or performance or your hiring history or your firing history. It's purely based on your business's income, your profit.
But it didn't go from 2,000 to 3,000. It went from 6,000 to 12,000.
Wow, wow. Well, we're definitely here to help you work on some of these issues. Can you show me, this is really an interesting place, and I'd just like kind of take a look around and see what you do, how you do it here.
Oh,
Can
sure.
you show me some of the sites?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right, Claire, so this is the scrap metal area that you have right here. The people, you see them driving around the truck, so they say, we haul trash.
Yes.
They come here?
Yes.
Okay, and what kind of things, it looks like you have a refrigerator here.
Basically anything that's metal.
Any kind of metal.
Rotors, refrigerators, car parts, just about anything that's metal.
And you can bundle this and sell it. Is it by the pound or?
We have a scale. We weigh their truck, then weigh it when it's done.
Okay.
We buy it by the 100 per 100 pounds.
You buy it, okay. And then what do you do with it once you buy it?
We'll scoop that out of there and put it between the crushed cars
Okay.
and crush it with them and take it that way to CSR.
Okay, oh, over in Harrisburg?
Yes.
Okay, I know where you're going. Okay, so this looks really cool over here. Is this where you're?
This is the car crusher, yes.
All right, and so you've given me the car crusher button.
Just push the center button.
All right, so we're gonna crush a car. This is one of them that has come into your site. That, you keep holding it down.
No. We can crush 4 cars at a time in there and copy each other.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, what does CRS do with it once they?
CSR?
Yes.
They shred it.
They shred it, and then who do they sell it to? Maybe melted
the
back
steel
down.
plant,
Steel
there's,
plants.
Stilton, and they'll ship them out 2 different places, but I'm not sure where they ship them to. They have railroad cars behind there that ship them out.
All right. So last year you guys were over at the National Night Out.
Yes.
Newberry had their first National Night Out.
Yeah.
And what were you doing over there?
Oh, last year I just helped them get the area. I took my skid loader over so they can clean up the stones, get the mud
Okay.
taken care of for
Just a
the
volunteer. And you were
Yeah.
talking about this year, you're going to be over there this year?
Yeah, we're gonna take our car crusher over and crush a couple cars for the kids and
Okay.
let them
That's
see how
always
it's done.
a great thing to see.
Yeah, they
So
always like doing that. Or seeing that, so.
that's wonderful. Okay. So we just finished crushing the car over there. So over here gives you a little bit of an idea of your before, and then this is the after over here. You're
Yes.
stacking them there. So here's what we came from. They'll pull in here. You pull off the tires and what you need to pull off of them.
We'll save the good tires. We're allowed 4 tires in each car when we crush them.
Okay.
So we'll save the good tires.
Okay. And then you take them over and you crush them.
We crush
You
them.
pull what you need.
Yes.
So, and we've got them stacked here. Okay. And then back behind here, we see all the cars that are back there. That's part of the you pull it that we discussed?
Yes.
So if somebody wants to come in and they're looking for a part for a car, they call you first, or how, how do they go about that?
They can call it. Sometimes we get so many cars in a week's period of time, it's kind of hard to keep track of them. What we want to do in the future is take a picture of the car and put it on the internet. So every time I take the car out, I can put the VIN number in the computer. It takes it out of the system, and we always keep everything fresh, and they can see, the customer can see on the internet what we have.
What kind of cars are there?
Yeah,
So
at
you
least
have
what
an
kind of
idea.
car it is, and what if it's been wrecked. Maybe you need a front end. Well, that one's wrecked. You know that's not going to work for them.
Okay, all right. Versus you kind of going by memory and
Yes.
saying, we may have that back here, come take a look.
Which
if
is
you want
sometimes
to."
we might get 100 cars a weekend.
Wow, wow.
So that's a lot of cars.
And so going forward, you said initially when we were talking, you started as not you pull it, but more they would call you, hey, do you have a front end? Do you have this? And you would get the parts off
Well,
the
my
car.
dad started originally as a body shop.
Okay.
And it just grew into a salvage yard because it just got bigger and bigger
Right.
and bigger and bigger. And then he started doing both. And when I took it over, we had the garage also, but we started doing more recycling. So we had to do one or the other. So we picked the recycling over the pulling apart. So we went to the you pull it part.
All right.
Make it easier for us.
Right, okay. So what do you, future-wise? So you've kind of evolved into the salvage and the recycling part of it. Future-wise?
Future-wise, in May, right where we're standing, is going to be a 70 by 80 building. We're going to have 3 dumpsters on each side
Okay.
inside the building for the motors we have here. Everything will be all contained inside. Be no issues of any sort. It's so much easier to keep clean.
Okay. Kind of keep everything contained in
Yes,
one area.
it's a lot easier to sweep up cement than stone.
Yes,
So.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So you have to go in stages of those.
Yeah.
Okay. So I almost forgot to ask you. You have another part of your business up at the top, the non-ferrous. So what do you
Yes.
do up there? Explain what that is.
The non-ferrous would be aluminum cans people bring in. We weigh it. We have scales up there in the garage. Aluminum car wheels, copper, brass, number 1 copper, number 2 copper, wire, lead.
Is copper as valuable as it was a couple years ago where
It
people
went
were robbing?
down.
Okay.
Yeah, it went down pretty good.
It did. Okay.
But that's still an issue. But we have our system. Everybody has to come in, no matter what they have, cans or wire. They have to have their license. So everything comes in and gets documented what they bring in.
Okay, all right, so that gets into, and that was a part I didn't really touch on either. So another whole aspect of this, you always have to be on the lookout that people are bringing stolen goods in here. So you
Yeah.
have a whole process in place above and beyond what's legally required to make sure that you're doing everything legitimately.
Yeah, we have some of the local police, like Fairview Township and Newberry Township. They used to just come out and they ask me questions if they can find something in a computer form, but they just call us now because they know we can look up very quick and give them an answer in 2 minutes. And
So you have a software, some kind of software
they ask us for a name
Uh-huh.
or a product, we can get in the computer and go back and check the history of it and tell them who it is.
So you can purge that data.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's great. And employees here, how many employees do you have on site?
Right now, be 5 of us right now.
5 of you now.
Yeah.
Okay. And most of them is manual labor type of thing. Of course, you would have an administrator, but you have.
Yeah, we have one girl works in the office part-time
Okay.
to help us do title work.
All right. All right. So that's a whole nother aspect is your title work.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. I know you're really busy, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to give us a feel of what you do here, some of the business that goes on in this district, and thank you for your time.
Oh, no problem.
We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to head over to Fairview Township to visit with Acme Trailers, another small business in my district.
Did you know that the chamber of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives contains a painting depicting the 24 hours of the day? Located in the center of the ceiling, the mural titled The Hours was created by artist Edwin Austin Abbey. This wonderful masterpiece charts the setting of the sun, moon, and the many stars that grace the heavens. 24 maidens, who each represent an hour of the day, begin each day in light and gladness and ends in solemn drapery carried on still shoulders. Now you know.
Welcome back to the program. We're now with John Mickle with Acme Trailers, Inc. over in Fairview Township, just right outside of New Cumberland. So, John, I know it's Acme Trailers and that's how you started, but I know it's a lot more than that. So tell me a little bit about the business.
Well, started as a trailer repair company back in 1984, and then expanded into a couple different lines that used the same facility, the same equipment, and we find ourselves now with basically 4 separate companies all working under the Acme banner. We sell retail parts for air-cooled Volkswagen Beetles, dune buggies, trikes, kind of the aftermarket market based on Volkswagen products. We, 6 years ago, purchased a company in Michigan called Berry & Buggy, which makes sandrail frames and fiberglass dune buggy parts. We moved that here to Pennsylvania and reopened it here in Pennsylvania 6 years ago. And then we also, at that time, opened a shop where we actually do repairs on those vehicles and build them. My theory being you can't sell parts that you don't know how to use or install. So we actually participate in the installation and rebuilding of products. And then 3 years ago, our supplier of the fiberglass bodies that we sell went out of business. And we had to hustle. We bought their assets, and we now have a 4th division that manufactures fiberglass products. That's based in Hanover, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So we've got 4 separate entities working as the same corporation, basically.
So the trailers that you're talking about, though, you're talking about tractor trailer, the trailers
yes.
that are on top, attached to rigs, just
Yes,
so
yes,
people know.
freight trailers,
Right.
yes.
And so what did you do with that? Did you fabricate? Did you paint?
We basically did repairs. Wrecks, you have trailer hits a bridge, trailer breaks in half, everything down to brake jobs and light repairs and doors, just about anything that needed to be done to a trailer. That's what we did, from small jobs to big jobs.
Okay. And then you just evolved into the next business just with equipment, resources.
Right. I was always concerned, been in this business most of my life, and I was concerned that there would be a slowdown again. There was one in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. Kind of knew one was coming at some point in time, and I was looking for other baskets to put our eggs in, but that didn't take a substantial investment in equipment or retrained people. And these things all fit because they use basically the same skills that we use in the trailer business. So I just kind of expanded what we already had into different areas with the hopes that, well, if one's slow because of the economy or whatever's going on, the other would pick up the slack.
Right. So this is a pretty unassuming place. So I was really surprised when I kind of stumbled on it a year ago. I just was really in awe about it. How many people do you have working here?
At this location, we have 16, and then we have 5 more down in Hanover.
Okay, so you have 16 and 5 over there. What kind of jobs, like, are we talking about that you're dealing with?
Well, we have retail sales.
Okay.
I have one guy that does shipping because a lot of this stuff we manufacture, we ship all over the world.
Okay.
So we have one guy in shipping who basically handles shipping this stuff every day. I have 5 guys in the trailer shop, and they do whatever needs to be to a trailer, and some truck work also, box trucks and so forth. In the manufacturing side, I have one guy and I give him a helper, but we're moving into CNC controlled machinery and stuff in the manufacturing process. So I have one guy that pretty much handles that and sets up the fabrication of the small parts. And then I have 5 people in our back shop where we build dune buggies, we restore Volkswagens and do special projects and so forth. And so they work in a second building we have here.
Okay.
And they all have kind of cross skills. Not every guy likes to work on Volkswagens. My trailer guys like to work on trailers, so we try and keep it that way. But when times get a little bit slow, we do what we have to do.
Right. And I was going to say, now that leads me into another area because my husband does, custom motorcycles and the fabrication. Staff, employment. I mean, how do you find the work base?
That's probably one of the hardest parts. I've tried. Over the years, I can't tell you the different things I've tried. I've used work-release prisoners from Dauphin County as an attempt to, maybe give somebody a new start or something. My latest group is pretty young. We got them out of Cumberland Perry Votech. I work with Redland High School, and bring in young guys. Our theory at this point is bring in a young guy and try and train him. It's pretty hard, especially with the Volkswagen, since they quit making them in 1979.
Right.
to find people that know what they're doing with the Volkswagen. So our thrust at this point is to use younger people and train them on the job.
Okay.
It's not always easy, but
Right.
that's
And
where
that's
we're
an
going right now.
investment. That's an investment.
It is
you're
an
putting in.
investment, yeah.
So I know that's kind of where my husband's worked out with his business, is going back and forth with, if I'm going to put this time into, somebody that's young and train them, are they going to stay? It's compensating them adequately as well to make it worth their while. But
That's always
challenge.
a challenge. Yes, it's a challenge.
And you're dealing with, when you're coming from a Votech school, you're learning the basics, but like you said, you're dealing with 1970s Volkswagens. He's dealing with 1940 something motorcycles. So that's not something that's going to be part of their core curriculum as far as that goes.
No.
So you need that basic mechanical
Right.
ability.
They get the basics there. If they have the basics coming out of a Votech school, you've got something to work with.
So what have you learned over the years with this business, like the importance of small business entrepreneur? How do you keep that going? Like, what's some of the hard lessons you've learned?
The first hard lesson I'll tell anybody is it's never been as easy as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
Period. There's always a challenge. There's always circumstances outside of your own control that are going to move in and make you think differently or change or shuffle, whether it's sometimes government regulations, sometimes it's just the economy, other times it's just circumstances that you didn't foresee. And so if you're not willing to change and take on the challenge, you're in trouble.
Right.
You're in trouble. But there's always something. I mean, in what we've done, because we've changed a lot of things we do, there's an awful lot of learning that has to happen all the time.
Right.
You can't ever stop.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's a great kind of background and understanding of it. Can you give us a tour? Can you show us a little bit of the different aspects of this business
Sure,
that you're dealing with?
I'd be happy to. Sure.
That'd be great. Okay, so now we're in the trailer section
Correct.
of your business. Okay.
Yes.
And what pretty much do you do here?
What we do here is repair freight trailers. We do some truck work. That's why we have a truck behind here. That's one of our regular customers. This particular trailer is having problems with the rear overhead door. So what we're doing is taking it out, doing some repairs, and putting the door back in. So it works well. In the next bay over, we have a trailer that got wrecked. So we're cutting sections of the trailer out and replacing it with new parts, and then repaint it and get it ready to get back on the road. The trailer behind me has a hydraulic lift gate, and it's not working properly. So we bring it in, and my guys analyze what's wrong with it, fix it, and do any other necessary repairs to it. And it's kind of just an ongoing everyday. Some days you'll come in here and there'll be 3 or 4 great big trailers all tore apart because they were in wrecks, and other days you come in and it's like today, there's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, minor repairs as well as major repairs, and that's just kind of the nature of the business.
Okay. What are these made of? Is this aluminum,
Aluminum.
steel? It's aluminum. Okay.
Aluminum. The majority of them are aluminum, riveted aluminum. Some of the newer trailers now are actually glued together. It's a different process, but for the most part, they're aluminum with wooden floors.
Okay. Now, do you do any kind of custom trailer work as well, or is it mostly just repair and?
No, we do custom work. That's a little niche we were always kind of proud of. We've done some rather odd projects for people. If somebody comes to us with a odd request, that's kind of my bread and butter. I like doing that.
That's
so yes, we've
niche.
done. We're also a licensed manufacturer in the state of Pennsylvania, so we can build specialty small trailers. We don't do any production work. But if somebody came to us, we've built trailers for people that go around and do barbecues at fairs and so forth. So yeah, we kind of do the whole, anything that's interesting, you know?
All right. So this is the part of your shop where you do the frame fabrication for the dune buggies?
Right. This is where we build the Berrien Buggy products. That's a company we bought in Berrien Springs, Michigan, and moved here to Pennsylvania 6 years ago. So we make dune buggy frames, either complete or we sell kits, ship them to people and they weld them together themselves. We have jigs, we have welding rigs, tubing benders. We start with raw steel. I like to say most of it's domestic.
I was going to say, where do you get that from?
The bulk of our tubing comes from a mill in West Virginia. We buy it from a company in New York. So we've kind of kept that all local USA stuff. We've tried some offshore products and didn't have very good luck with it, so we don't buy it anymore. We bend it here, we assemble it here. I'm stepping up the game as much as I can. We've invested in some new CNC plasma cutting equipment. We cut all our own flat plate parts and tabs and brackets and gussets, and we've just purchased a new machine that actually cuts and profiles steel tubing now to make the whole process easier and repeatable.
Yeah, that piece of equipment is very impressive.
It's amazing. It cuts it to shape, marks where you bend it, puts a part number on it.
Wow.
So when it comes out of the machine, a guy walks over to the bender, bend it, and it's ready to weld into a chassis. It's a pretty neat piece of equipment.
Okay, so now we're in the back part of your shop. You have a lot of customization here, fabrication, you're doing a lot of different projects going on here. So tell me a little bit about some of those projects or the types of projects that you have going on this end of the business.
We're doing, we've got some restorations underway. We've got some modifications. We have a trike that has suspension issues that we're trying to straighten out for a fellow. We're making a rat rod Volkswagen for a customer. We've just built a complete turnkey buggy for another customer. We have 2 or 3 buggies in the shop that we're trying to make state compliant because the customers bought them outside the state of Pennsylvania, brought them in here, and they didn't comply with some of the Pennsylvania rules. So we're trying to modify the buggies for them so that they can get a title, a license plate, and drive their buggies.
Okay, and so that's one of the state issues that you run into, regulatory issues that you run into, is special construction and out-of-state special construction and getting that titled in the Commonwealth.
That's correct. There's a big disconnect between the states around Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, New York State, Michigan. They don't have near the complexity of rules for a special constructed vehicle like a dune buggy to drive it on the highways. And so people buy them at flea markets or buy them online and come to Pennsylvania with them thinking they're going to just get a title and a license plate, and they can't. So then that's one of the areas we have to help them with. We're relocating a gas tank on one because it's wrong. Others just don't have enough safety equipment. In Pennsylvania, you have to have a defroster, and no other state requires that. So there's little things that we do, and so it's one of the services that this shop takes care of is modifying people's cars to comply with the state's rules.
Right, but as you're trying to help your customers and you're trying to get a vehicle on the road, for you, it's a lose-lose for both of you. For your customers frustrated, you're frustrated because you can't provide the service that you would like to provide at the level you'd like to provide.
Yeah, it raises the price of a hobby vehicle because you start getting a lot of labor and money in the transition. People say, why is Pennsylvania so different from everybody else? And I can't answer that. It's legislated and I have nothing to do with it. I don't agree with all the rules, and I've dealt with some great people at PennDOT who have guided me through some of the process so that I can help my customers. But it seems overly complicated. It seems just a little bit of overkill from my perspective. But I'm not a legislator, and I'm not somebody that works for PennDOT, so I don't know their whole story.
Right. No, I get it. And the regulatory overreach, that's kind of where I'm coming from here, and trying to help some of the small businesses, and why I'm reaching out to you to see what you do and how we actually impact you. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much for sharing with me what you do and sharing with the other constituents what you do and a little bit about your business.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all the time that we have today. Thank you for joining me. I'm State Representative Dawn Keefer from the 92nd District. If you have any questions about anything you've seen at on this program today, the information to contact my office is at the bottom of the screen.